Got a bunch of stuff for you guys today. This one was pretty recent, but if you notice right there, the bend in the rain. The rain is coming down, and there's a bend, and you see that little tail. It's right there, pushing into the bend. You see it, don't you? Yeah. It gets bigger as it pushes in farther. Now, what kind of cloud can displace rain like that? Not any cloud I know. It's one of those, just like this picture at a different time. These little objects have a gravitational field, electromagnetic field around them, or something that basically pushes atmosphere out of the way. That's what makes these little things look like giant spheres in the sky sometimes. So they got a pretty big area of influence. As you see that one right there, and it's leaving its tail, telling you that there is one of these objects. Whether it's an asteroid or whether it's something else, I don't know. But you see these funky ass clouds that these things leave when they get all fueled up. Those little black dot things are always flying around. And here's another example of opposite sunset illumination. So something opposite of the setting sun illuminating and sending those light rays up. And of course you got that huge ion bleed off coming from I think it might have been the red asteroid. That's where the sun is, right there. Sun, all the little OCGs out in front. And then you got the light rays coming from the complete opposite direction. Now that's either light coming under the base of a planet, or it's a second source of a light, or it's some object that is being illuminated enough to emit that light. But you see that little tail or trail all the way to the left right there shooting up. I couldn't find the video, but it actually grows like that. Like, it gets longer and longer. It's pretty fascinating to watch. But I mean, huge red ion bleed off tells me it's basically charged ionized gases up there. Because the bleed off from these objects basically is ionized. It's electrically charged. That's what makes it glow. That's a good bit of light. Most of the time when I see that, it's either opposite sunrise or opposite sunset.
There's the moon. There's the sun.
But a lot of times it always looks like it's shining basically under the bottom or the base of a planet. And that's just a guess. You see right there, top right, you got that big dark arc, like there's an object up there, and then you got the ion bleed-off trail going to the illuminated asteroid to the far left. There's a cube all the way up in the top left. It's got its little side orb. There's more sphere asteroids that are up there, got trails. That's a huge ion bleed-off trail going right to a illuminated sphere, which is right under where the cube is. See how it's bending it down? There's a little sphere thing right in the middle, in the crevice. You got them funky clouds again. It's like they come down in the lower atmosphere and kind of, I don't know, shoot around strangely. But if you look at this, I'm thinking these are probably an electrical connection of some kind, especially that little one in the center. I'll zoom up on it here in a second. Yeah, whenever you see these things, I mean, it looks like there's something massive above, but almost looks like a little vortex, not even a vortex, but like an energy current, basically, going straight up. And then you got the clouds left and right of it that are basically billowing up. That has to be some kind of an electrical interaction between whatever is above and Earth. And then, of course, I had to throw one of these videos in since it was recent. Now, if this was a bug, let me just tell you, I would be able to see clearly everything about it. This thing, it's just like a shadow marshmallow that has these little, you know, fake looking wings that pop out only when it thrusts, when it makes turns. You know, they move left to right, sharp angles. You can never see their mass. It's always like a transparent shadow. And they do a great job at fooling the sheeple, that's for sure. Here's another one right here, just to prove. Another recent one. If you look at it right about this position, it shoots 2 beams all the way down to Earth. I'm going to play it over and over. Watch those beams. Boom, boom. Just like them other videos I've showed you. Somehow their propulsion or whatever they do get energy from the Earth's core. I don't know, but they shoot these beams basically down to the ground. You know, at certain times. I don't know if it's when they're making maneuvers or what, but I see that a lot. And bugs don't shoot beams down to the ground. I hate to say it. This was also the other day. I was just scanning around and then happened to see this little zipper kind of flying around the sun, and I tried following it for a little while. It was kind of entertaining. You know, it's almost like they know that I'm filming them, and they know when they're in frame and out of frame. They pop in, they pop out, they pop in, they pop out. It's kind of like I don't know, it's almost like a game to them. Whatever they are, they're interesting. And then you look at the top of this, you got the asteroid debris field, a cluster group basically, just passing by above. And you got the bigger ones that are kind of, you know, moving down into the thick of it, down at the base where it's illuminated. You know, asteroid debris way up top. You got the clouds follow them, and then you got the ion bleed off raining down, you know, directly down to the ground under them. It's the same thing I see time and time again. You always have these glowing clouds like this, and it's not just because the sun's hitting them. That's an electrical interaction. There's electricity. It's ionized. You know, they do this when the sun is completely down, so it's not a sun thing completely. But those little craft things are always flying around inside those glowing clouds. And then this, I think that's either a sphere or a disc right there, but it slowly starts moving up back into the cloud. It kind of caught my eye, so I circled back to look at it. But I mean, it's got that perfect little lip, just like a disc or a sphere or something. I think it was a disc because, you know, it looked more like a craft to me. They always like to hide in those dark, pitch black areas of the cloud where your cameras really can't get enough light to see inside. And then of course you got this little triangle cloud, you know, down to the bottom right, forming up and doing its weird shit. It just boggles my mind how much of this stuff is intelligently designed, controlled, how much of it is natural. Because if it's natural, that's some crazy stuff. But I know there's a lot of interference or manipulation going on up there, so God only knows. All I know is it's freaking entertaining to no end. Yeah, I'm not sure why I had this going so damn slow. Let's speed it up here. It's a little too slow. Nice little rain bomb. I love the way that looks. A lot of the stuff I threw in here is just eye candy. But something like this, electrical connection, it's got to be. I mean, you look, it's going to a point. The cloud's just billowing out from like some point. You know, and there's always that spiraling, you know, structure to these damn things, counter-rotating. But I mean, you just watch these clouds just billow up, just explode. You know, there's more than just heat and wind. That's an electricity, a current, plasma interaction. I don't know, but it it's definitely electrified. Nice red, pink lightning. Let me see, it's just like a vacuum. It's just sucking up. Another one of those. Look at the very top. You see them spread out like fingers almost. And then it just slows down. That's because of the group passing up high, up above. That's just what they look like when they're coming from far away. They look like they're coming from the ground, but they're really coming from far away in the sky. They're just getting closer. There's one passing overhead. And then it's washout, wake's gonna, it's just like something in water, and you got all that turbulence in the water. It even doubles back. And you got the huge kind of mammatus wake washout crap from the big ones when they basically dunk down. The electrical discharges from basically the objects getting too close, having to get repelled back away electrically. But there's definitely an object in there. You can tell by the way that the centers of them change. They kind of like bulge. They'll glow a certain color. I mean, they stand out. It's like something illuminated in the base. I mean, you can see it right there to the left. It was kind of like in a little wake bulge, had its trail shooting up to the right. I mean, everything's kind of happening behind the clouds, but sometimes they push into it, and then you can see them, and you can see the turbulence pretty damn good. Yeah, power got knocked out freaking last night from a nasty little storm. Oh, this heat. And the thunder. Man, that thunder had some bass today. Keep telling everybody, it's only going to get worse. Batten down your hatches. You don't want to end up like Germany and China. The foundations of your house, eroding away. Your car getting swept away. If you live on a low-lying area, you might want to think about moving, so your house doesn't become in the bottom of a pond or a lake. Anything on a hill is ideal. If you're at the bottom of a hill or on a hill and you're going to have a lot of water basically channeling down around your house, do something to basically create grading to where you channel that water away from your house, because water is one of the most damaging disasters that could happen. It will destroy and wash away your entire life in a blink of an eye. So, and the flooding's already starting to happen, and that is because of the increased cosmic particles, cosmic rays that are coming in, weakened magnetosphere, hitting our atmosphere, our ozone, our molecules in the air, and basically creating cloud. A lot of times they call it star water. But there's a lot of different ways that we can get flooded out now, so a lot of the quakes, land reformations are happening now. I saw that video in India where that lake, that pond's bottom just rose up. I mean, that was pretty damn freaky. That's probably 1-2% of what some of these land reformations are going to end up being like. Entire cities dropping down, 20 feet, or an entire city rising up 20 feet. Buildings just falling over, sinking into the ground. I mean, the magnetosphere basically is what keeps our mantle in that plasticity and that, solid structure state. And it's basically diminishing, so it's letting that crust go, and you're basically getting a lot of the sinkholes and the earthquakes, and it's just going to get worse and worse as the magnetosphere keeps getting weak and weak, while the sun is still putting off massive solar CMEs. It's going to spell a bad day for the people that are unprepared, and for the people that are prepared. But I'm more worried about the roving hordes of unprepared freaking cannibals, desperate to feed their damn kids because they didn't want to pay attention to us conspiracy nuts. If you got a lot of food, something like that, supplies, it's going to be a good idea to seal it all up in watertight bags, Mylar bags. That way if it does get water damage, it's not ruined. Power's going to start going off and on in these events. So you either want to get a generator, or you want to freeze dry your food, or you want to buy freeze dry food. Just that way if your electricity goes out and all the food in your freezer spoils, you still got some food and some dry foods to eat. Instead of throwing away your milk jug, your Sprite bottles, wash them out and fill them up with filtered water, and just start storing them. Fill up a whole room of that crap, because it's not so much now or next year that we really got to worry about the food. It's 5, 6, 7 years from now, when the famines and the cannibalism and Mad Max mixed with the Bad Batch, it's going to be a reality. Nobody wants to think about having to eat somebody, but people are crazy, and when you're hungry, you do desperate things, and it's happened to every single grand solar minimum in the past, and it will happen again. I'm sure it's already happened in places like North Korea. So, if everything looks fine now, don't worry about now. Worry about 5 years in the future when things are really bad. Your 1 year, supplies is just going to get you right to the precipice of the worst part, and then you're going to be freaking without anything. So plan a little bit ahead. I'm talking about stockpile like a fucking squirrel before winter. You want to make some damn money and be a valuable person in your community? Stockpile all the freaking food you can. Doesn't even matter how good it is. Cans, beans, rice, freaking anything like that is going to be gold. Your Bitcoin, you can't eat Bitcoin. You can't eat guns. You can protect your food with guns, but you can't eat dollars. And you could be protected, but if you're starving, you're gonna want to eat somebody or die. So just remember that food is going to drive conflict in the near future. So buy it all now while you can. Bulk. Bury it, something. Just make sure it's in a safe spot. Don't tell people that you got it, because you got to think it's not going to end up just being you eating your damn supplies. You're going to end up having freaking friends or family that didn't prepare, that are going to look to you to feed them. So I'm telling you, stockpile. Grow it. If you can grow it, that's great. If you can get away from the grid, that's even better. You gotta love this stuff. The freaking asteroid, nice little trail, glowing red. Alright, well, I think the rest of these are just a lot of my favorite clips from this past month and more recent. Some of the better ones that I found, I just threw them all together, cut out all the BS. So it should be a lot of eye candy. So did tell everybody that we were getting close to the big show about a month or two ago, and sure enough, it's been like this every single evening. These huge anvil clouds. I mean, it's clear to me at least that these are passing objects. You know, you can see them in there if you look close enough. You can see their impressions, the bulges, the wakes, the bleed off, the illuminations. I mean, you can tell that it's not just cloud, not just the storm system. You know, it's a lot easier to see with these cameras the way I got them. You know, you can just, especially when you zoom in or get the wide view shot. I mean, you can tell that there's something up there. It's bleeding off down. I mean, the whole cloud changes like glowing red. You know, you got objects moving different directions, and they'll just kind of poke out of that damn cloud mass and then just kind of float back in, kind of like you toss a buoyant ball into the water. It'll kind of dunk down and then it slowly works its way back up. It's the same thing I see in these. Look at that huge dark shadow right there. The whole cloud above it is just pitch black. It's glowing red. Yeah, of course there's something up there. You know, the fact that they're always the exact same. And you got this bleed off that's just like a waterfall of cloud. It's continually flowing down. You got the wakes. I mean, just pitch black blue. The ion bleed off. That's because there are objects up there above it, especially those little spotty clouds right there at the base. That's a good giveaway. That kind of clear spot and then the spotty clouds around it. That's a giver. Just flowing off. Illuminated freaking bulge right there passing by with the trail going right to it. Yep. You know, it's sad that fucking us skywatchers and truthers get so much shit for talking about this stuff when we have more than ample evidence. You know, assuming somebody can put two and two together, use some critical thinking. I mean, even meteorologists, they either got to be freaking retarded or they just don't want to talk about it. Because if I stared it down the sky as much as they do, as much as I do, I'm pretty sure I'd figure it out too. All they see is pretty clouds. Up drafts, down drafts, heat, moisture. Alright, I'm gonna finish this up before my power gets knocked out again. I got some nasty storms coming. Actually, it's already here. But just a few of my little example things to show you. A couple new ones. Like those, I mean, you can always see when you got those clouds kind of stretching out to one side. I mean, you'll see at the front, there's going to be a little bow wake, and there's going to be a kind of like a sphere, a little trail behind it. Right here, you got the big trail, this bleed off that's coming down. At the top, you got the OCGs that are, you know, swooping down and out. Above that, you know, basically making that crap happen. At the base, you know, you got an illuminated one. You got the damn, like, Birkeland type current thing behind it, a little asteroid right there. That was one of the first ones I got, 2019. This is something I see all the time. The sphere bulge asteroids pushing into the denser atmosphere, creating the wakes, you know, the ripples. Like, these are the damn, kind of like the comet streaks is what I call them, but you get them coming left or right on your horizon different ways, just depending on what time of the year it is, but it's the same freaking thing. I mean, just like this, it's another thing that I see all the time, is that it's the wrinkle face asteroid or either that, or that's the impression they make when they come in. But there you go, you know, you got them coming in, pushing up, creating the two wing trails, the bow wake in front. I mean, you can see them in all these different pictures, the illuminations, the little transparent trails, the big one swooping in doing its close pass. I mean, kind of hard to deny that one. Man, that thunder's ripping. That right there, I've always done this, never really described it, but that of course is, you know, a planet basically right above the sun, cutting it off with an asteroid right above it. So there you go.